Did you hear the beat double back?
No.
It was like it like doubled up. I was like, wait, that's different. Why did that happen?
Maybe it's a remix.
Yeah, it was different for there for a hot minute. So welcome all of you beautiful people to
Oh,
a
stop.
beautiful, gorgeous darling.
Stop it, please.
Gorgeous. To another episode, a fabulous, spontaneous episode of Spontaneity. I'm Maria Daniels. This is the magnificent. I didn't put semi-magnificent.
Yeah, what's up?
Like, dang it! I didn't think about it.
You got old business.
I was like, man, I just didn't change it. That's all it was. I was like, man, I missed my mark. So close, but so far away. It's fine.
That's all
but
right.
I am Maria, the semi-magnificent Maria Daniels, and this is the magnificent Stacey Price.
Yeah, you know it's me, son. Like,
do you have your Ariel blanket on?
I do.
Okay,
it's literally the artwork from The Little Mermaid on the cover.
Which one? There was more than one.
The original, please don't get it twisted. Yeah. Like, we only shout out the original Little Mermaid. We don't do all these like, and the Little Mermaid and the Sorcerer's Stone. Like, no, stop it.
So, have you heard the fun fact about the original cover, about how there seems to be some phallic type symbols happening?
I have heard these things. I've looked at said cover.
Yeah, I kind of see it. I'm like, all right, I can see that. But technically, there are lots of things that are that shape naturally.
You ever seen the spaceship for SpaceX?
I actually did, and I have my own name for it. I do not call it SpaceX. But it's fine. I mean, you know, sometimes it's hard to argue away certain
look.
Because just coming from, I am not an architect or a spaceship builder or anything, but just looking from a layman, looking at that, I am like looking at the shape, right? We all know, I'm looking at the shape, and I'm like, that had to be harder to build that way. It's not like they just accidentally built it, and then it just happened to look like it for that. Like, could have potentially happened with the mermaid cover, potentially, allegedly, could have been an accident.
Can you imagine that meeting? What does the castle look like?
Excuse me. I never noticed it until somebody pointed it out, and I look back, I'm like, oh, well.
I'm gonna have to watch it again. I literally have the deluxe version on Blu-ray. I just want to shout that out. So I will. Hey, thanks. I will look. And I will watch said movie, and I will report my findings back, because I do watch The Little Mermaid from time to time.
Yeah, it wasn't something that I ever noticed. However, with the spaceship,
straight up.
That instant, I was like, oh my.
Yeah, you already know what that business look. We need to penetrate the space.
I know.
Okay, we need to.
But here's the thing, though. Genius marketing, right? Like, you know how we get this on everything?
You know it'll work.
Oh, yeah.
Because.
Yeah. It'll cost us a little bit more, but, I mean, it's free marketing people, so really we will save bank. Because everybody was talking about it, right? So then people that normally wouldn't have cared that this even happened was like, what? I have to see this penis ship. Where is this at?
Yeah.
This is a real thing? You know? It's
straight up.
Funny, hysterical. This was not the plan for the show today.
Is it bad?
That's how we roll. This is how we roll.
How do we segue this into international?
That's what I was just thinking, because I was thinking about. I was thinking about what we were talking about. We were talking about celebrating not only International Women's Day, which was yesterday,
yes,
but National Women's History Month, which is all month in March, and that was what our focus was. And somehow we are way on the other side of the world.
I just had a thought.
So it's fine though. You know what? We're all one people, right? We can say it like that. We are one people, so it's fine.
We are.
So that's the best way that I can segue this without making it worse. So this is all I got to say.
Speaking of many, of like just how like I think that's actually a motto in Jamaica, like of many one people, like letting us know that we are. Yeah. like letting us know we are
I want to
one.
go to Jamaica. I want to go to.
Okay. I'm not an ambassador, but we could figure something out.
I want to go. I have a passport. Do I even need a passport for Jamaica?
Yes, you do. My passport has a picture of me of when I was like 8. That's how long it's been.
Okay, so it's expired, honey. So you need.
It's definitely expired. I was hoping that I could just use the same picture and just like show up.
Probably not, because it's like every 10 years you have to have it done. So it's only good for 10 years. So unless you're 18, and I know you're not, then.
You don't know that.
But I do.
Oh, all right. I tried.
I do. I do, my dear. That's okay. That's all right. So, passport, get your passport. I'm going to put you and Chad on the same thing. He's supposed to be getting his passport because I want to go to Mexico. And I told him, I was like, well.
Oh, he still didn't do it yet? Oops.
Probably not. I don't know. I told him, I was like, when I book it, if you don't have it, you're not going. I'm not going because you didn't. I even printed it out for him. I can't do anything.
You realize you have to fill it out.
Yeah, he probably, but he needs to go get the picture and all those things. So no,
yeah, you gotta fill it out.
He's gonna have to do some work. He has to do some work. He either wants to do it or he doesn't, and that's
he can show up for the picture part.
He just has to show up there. I'll be like, dude, you come here. You can get it done at CVS. You can get it done at CVS.
That's true.
You just show up at CVS. They're like,
oh my god, I could have done this like forever ago. Now that you're explaining it. Everybody get your passwords updated. Whether you're going somewhere or not, get your passport updated just in case.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard. It really isn't. Come on.
Put like
it's like a challenge. Let's make a challenge here.
Passport.
I just entered him into the challenge. Stay surprised you were into the challenge. Everybody else out there that is like putting this off.
Yeah, my mom's gonna be like,
no.
It would tell you a long time if fix your passport so we could go to Jamaica and you still not do it yet. So my mom was on me too.
You got it going on, Stacey's mom. I know you love that song as much as I love the Maria song.
Don't do it.
That's all right. I have all the songs that get sung to me on that kind of world, so I feel you, dog.
My mom loves the song.
Oh, I'm sure she does. She's like, yeah, I do.
He's like,
we've talked about it. My mom.
They made a song just for me.
Yeah. She's like.
Nope.
My mom wishes that was her song, but it's not.
Your mom sounds hilarious.
She can be. She can be a lot too. She can be a whole handful.
I feel like everybody's mom is a handful.
Oh, I know. My kids have the same discussion. Like my mom, they have to. They have to be like, my mom is like a child a lot, and I can't even argue. How do I argue?
You can't.
I can't. There's no arguing. They do get on to me. Sometimes we'll be like at the house and they'll say something. I'm over there like, hey, or like, that's what she said or something like that. They're like, seriously, you're so immature. And
you're like, really? How many bills do you pay? Let's talk about immature.
I do say that actually. That's the only thing I have going for me because I can't argue the fact because it is usually me saying immature things. So
yeah, anytime like that would be my go-to. Like, look. The only difference from a child and an adult is responsibility. So let's start at the top. How many bills do you pay? What? What was that? None. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
None of the bills.
Who bought the food in the house? What? Can't hear you. A little louder. You didn't. I did. Yep. Okay. Yep. You wanna keep this going?
We can do this all day. All day. Yeah, I think it's really funny. Some of my kids definitely get their smart aleck abilities from me. The 9-year-old, he was saying something about wanting, what was he wanting? It was some animal. I don't even know at this point. They ask for stuff every day.
A chinchilla.
Who knows? We'll just make it fine. It's a chinchilla. I don't think it was, but we'll make it up. Anyway, he was like, what if I start paying the bills? Because you always say that we can't do whatever because we don't pay the bills. If I make the money and start paying the bills, then can I have that? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, how does he start to twist this crap around on me? Well, first of all, he's 9. He doesn't have a job. He can't pay the bills. I know what our bills are. He can't afford them. But still, I don't want to step into that trap.
What if?
Of the what if. You never know. You know, he might come up with some idea and all of a sudden he's making bank. And then I got
a kid younger than him that makes millions of dollars.
I know. So this is where I'm like, we're going to have to sit down as a family and talk about the rules on this kind of stuff.
Can you imagine?
So I'm like, bored. Because I just like see myself stepping into that and all of a sudden he's bringing like ferrets and chinchillas. We got like a whole zoo at the house. He's like, but I pay the bills now, Mom.
What would you do?
I don't know. It might be
Say,
worth it. We need to sit and have a meeting on this because I
y'all
actually
need to
thought
get
that
something in writing.
I might be like, wait, I mean, if he takes over the bills at that point, can he
He
have the
sounds like the
chinchilla?
kid that is like, is that what you need for me to? Okay,
Yeah,
say
yeah,
less. He's that
yeah.
kid.
He is that
He's
kid.
gonna develop. He's gonna buy an app.
Yeah.
He's gonna get investors, and he's gonna be like, "So, mom, you
Can
remember
you
that time?"
imagine? You know how many investors he'd probably get if he's like, okay, I want this, and mom said I have to pay all the bills, so I need X amount of dollars a month. Who wants to come in? People would probably do that. Just
Oh, absolutely. And then he's like,
why we're
"Guess
not
what?
him this. We're not
I
him.
bought the house,
Yeah, exactly.
and the property we live on.
You work for
There's
me now.
17 chinchillas coming tomorrow."
Yeah, everyone's standing there like,
Can you imagine?
I feel like ridiculous.
A little 7-year-old or something, like, "You're not the boss of me," and then he's like, I guess I'm not.
Well, I would do what I threaten all the time at that point. I keep threatening. I'm like, I'm going to build my own house in the backyard, a little tiny home just for me. It's going to be like a retina scan, so y'all can't get in because I'm a neat freak. I like things in certain places. My kids don't
Not
care.
so much. Yeah.
They don't care. Like their bar is like way down here. My bar is like way up here. So it's like it's yeah. So anyway, I keep telling I'm like I'll end up doing something, and if I'm gone the day or whatever, I come back, and the teenagers are just as bad. They lie and say they're not, but they're probably worse actually. And I come back and I'm like, and I'm always like, I'm building my own house in the backyard. It's gonna be a retina scan, and it's gonna be so clean and beautiful all the time, and nobody can get in. They can't touch nothing.
Does it smell like essential oils in here?
I know.
Oh my god.
And then I have actually thought about this. I've actually thought about where would I put this? Where would this go? And I've got it planned out in my mind. And I would have to do that if it came to such a moment that Cole was able to raise the funds to be able to buy the entire property. Then I would have to have a little section surveyed off for my retina scan house. Chad's gonna have to figure his own thing out because he ain't coming in there. I told him, it's my house, my retina scan. You ain't getting in. Not getting in. Just for me.
That's hilarious.
It's where I would go to hide from everybody. It'd be like on movies where it's like some the mom or whatever. Have you ever seen Spy Kids? My kids used to love that movie. Okay, well it's terrible. You're not gonna like it, but they used to like it. And they had this like secret lair. It would be like that, except for it wouldn't be that secret. It would just be like they couldn't get in. They would see it and they'd be like, Mom.
I always wanted one of those secret lairs, like
Great.
say if when I get the money to build my own house, like I'm gonna have that bookshelf. Like you think, like to you it's a bookshelf, but to me it's a door, son. Yeah, like we're just like going there and there's like an elevator and it just like goes like 80 feet into the ground and like I don't know.
It would be very expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even care if it would just like open. There's a room and there's just like a chair on my plant. And it's like sitting there. I get found and somebody thinks I'm doing like something like real special, like I'm a spy, and really I'm just sitting in there with like tea, with my plants, and I'm like, hi.
Just a door and a chair. That's literally your timeout. You're like, I love timeout. Send me away.
Really. It's just like it's so great. As long as I had some light for my plants to be able to be happy, and we would be good. I just hide in there. They'd be like, "Where'd Mom go?" And then one day they just like find me, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Hi, folks. This is my place."
You're just sitting there staring at the wall. I'm like, I am at peace.
I am. I'm like sitting on a yoga mat in my meditative state. I'm actually getting in my meditative state right now in my chair. In a meditative state, and I'm just like.
I can't.
No kids. I have like white noise machines. Like
it actually sounds really nice, right?
It does, right? I don't even need like a whole big old layer. I just need where they can't find me. Give me something where they can't find me. I keep threatening because I've got the old bank. My husband rents the back vault, but I have this front vault. And I'm putting wine racks in the back room, but I keep threatening. I was thinking the other day, I was like, too bad that there's not a way to get light in here because this could totally be my hideout. How do you get into a vault? You can't.
Exactly.
You can't get in there. I was like, but there's no like way to. I mean, I could put like the plant lights, but those are only so good for so long. My plants would cry. I was actually thinking about this the other day, but I was like, well, I will have a wine rack in there. I was like, but then I get like too tipsy, and then I can't get out of the vault. It's just like I was
like,
thinking
I'm stuck in the vault.
Like, I don't know how to get out, and then I'm having to like call. There's no cell reception there because it's a vault, though. So I'm just like stuck in there like prison. Like, hi.
Oh my goodness! All right, speaking of wine vault.
Exactly. I don't know how you're gonna.
We're gonna do it.
You're taking wine vault to women.
Yeah, okay. Hold on. We go. Give me a minute. Like,
I'm here for it. And go.
Sometimes we need a little space for ourselves. And it's so important.
All right, that was about that for half a minute. I'm like, swallow. I thought I was gonna spit all over the world.
Look, we are some powerful people.
Yeah, we
and
are.
Because we are powerful, we get a month and a day.
Oh my. So,
here we go. Eric. So I thought it would be interesting that we talk about International Women's Day. Okay. Because I really didn't know what it was about. See?
Wouldn't the title of it kind of give it away?
A little bit. But for me, I need to dig in and be like, what's this about? What's it about? Like, are we just saying, oh my God, I'm so happy that like Rosa Parks did stuff? Or are we like, oh, I'm happy that all women did stuff?
I'm going to read it. Well,
okay, go.
I'm going to read it. So this says, what is International Women's Day? March 8th. Wow, that sounded really fake, but that's fine. March 8th was International Women's Day. That was yesterday. We're recapping, people. But it is a global celebration dedicated to uplifting women and honoring their achievements. But this feel-good day started off as more than a day to celebrate the women in your life. It was born out of socialism, protest, and a fight for labor rights. So there's a whole article, which I will spare you to not read. But I can send it to you, Stacey Price.
No, I'm good.
I'm going to send it anyway because I was already.
I realized. I shouldn't have said anything.
It's too late. Just pretend like you love. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you.
So excited. Oh my gosh. Send me more stuff.
All right, I will. So great. So anyway, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a pretty cool thing because obviously like I said, the name kind of gives it away. But I started wondering too, when you said that, even just this morning, I'm like, when did it start? Because I didn't even know when it started. I knew kind of the basics on that it was started out kind of like a protest stuff, but honestly, I didn't know what protest. I didn't know why, because there's a lot of reasons to protest across the many moons ago, while even sometimes and now. So I wasn't sure why. So this article explained it well. I'm on usnews.com, and they had made a post yesterday just talking about the radical roots of International Women's Day. So again, I'm not going to read it, but you can look back. There's actually several things that kind of brought this to light, and it wasn't officially recognized until 1975, but the origins of it actually traced back to 1908. So it was kind of neat whenever I was kind of looking it up, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, because it's funny. Sometimes you only know part of the why, right?
Right.
And I'm sure even within this article, there's probably a lot more of it that they can't fit in an article. It would probably take a novel to explain all the things. But I thought it was really interesting just kind of looking it up. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because, there are in my opinion, my humble opinion, there's a lot of reasons to celebrate women.
Absolutely.
I might be biased, but I think we're kind of awesome. And,
hey.
I think that Women's History Month is a great, celebratory month of its own. But I just thought that was really cool that, within Women's History Month, here we have International Women's Day that kind of springs up, within there. And I was like, oh, cool. Because I was kind of curious on, the difference, and all of it. So, yeah, I thought that was a good read, actually.
Absolutely.
You didn't want it, I sent it to you anyway, and you will enjoy it. I know you will, because I know you.
I thought the picture was kind of funny, that the way it looks on the phone. It's like literally a woman going like, it's like, can you hear me? Like, but anyway, I realized that, and it's so funny because that picture, I thought it was really funny. I was like, really? It's like, can you hear me in the back?
Well, I mean, you could actually take that deeper, where sometimes for a long time women felt voiceless, right?
Well, that's true.
We're here. We are here.
Watch out. So,
You all right?
yeah, I'm fine. The interesting thing is, what was it? Monday. I'm hoping I do not mispronounce her name. Her name is Malala.
I'm glad you're doing this because I get in trouble a lot for
Yousafzai. If I show you her, you'll know who I'm talking. Oh, yeah, no.
Oh, I got it. I got her. I didn't hear you talking about, and I don't know how to say her name. I'm not even gonna try. I already
I'm
got
just
in
gonna say
trouble.
Malala. A lot of people know who she is. So she was, I believe, attacked by the Taliban. But in Pakistan, I believe. She's originally from Pakistan. I don't know a lot of her backstory, but one thing I do know about her is that she stands for getting equal education worldwide for women. And on Apple Fit, or I should say Fitness Plus, Apple's fitness app, they have different walks. So you could it could be like a 30-minute walk, a 15-minute walk, or whatever, and you can literally take a walk with the person, which I think is so cool.
I didn't know that. I want to do that.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if I could. Can I add
Wait,
you?
who all can you pick?
There's different people on here. There's
I'm not picking for any specific reason, but is Chris Momo on there? I mean, I just feel like he walks at a good pace, that I would be able to get a good workout.
Right. So far I don't see him on here, but I wouldn't be surprised if he isn't in the future, only because he does already work with Apple on that movie or that series called C. So I don't see him on here right now. I don't see him on here. He's in the series called C. Get it? Anyway.
Yeah, I do. Oh, and it's Jason Momoa. I was thinking he plays a character named Chris. It's Jason.
Oh, but I knew who you were referring to.
Yeah. Well, there's only one Momoa, right? But I was like, wait, his real
There's
name's
only
Jason.
one.
There's only one.
Yeah, so, all right, so a little bit of background on her. I'll just read what they have. So, Malala is the youngest person to win the Nobel Peace Prize and an advocate for girls' right to education in her native country of Pakistan, and around the world. She became a target for speaking out and was nearly assassinated at age 15. Malala talks about how a great friend can make you feel at home anywhere in the world and what fuels her activism. So that's pretty much what the talk was about. And I listened to it, Monday when I went to the park. I was like, let me listen, because I don't know too much about her. And I found it so interesting, her talk, because she talks about, why she stands for what she does and how important education is and how important it is to get education to all people, women as well. And and what I realized is, I was also listening to not only her, but I was listening to Joel Osteen today. He was talking about on his podcast, he records his sermons and has them on Apple or whatever. So I was listening a little bit to both of them because they kind of had a similar outlook, in a sense of there are things that we as a people used to do, we used to do them, and they served their purpose at that time. But now, although that's what we used to do, it doesn't mean it's going to serve its place here and now. And things change with time. And that's kind of the consensus that I got from Malala's walk and Joel Osteen's sermon, because, I think even we see, whether it's in quote unquote the corporate world or wherever it is, there's still certain things that go on where women aren't seen as, I don't even know if the word equal is what I'm looking for, or we're not seen as people that can really make an impact as a man does in certain things. There's certain things, yeah, I get it. More for a man to do. I understand that, just like we've spoken about, there's certain things that I'm like, all right, I get it. But there's certain things where I'm just like, we're still doing that. We're still doing that. But I realized that with things like this and putting a highlight on women and how far we've come, it really puts things into perspective that change is possible and that it starts with us. Like, it doesn't have to be where it stays exactly the same. We're like, oh, well, I guess that's it. Like, no, like, speak up about it. If you feel that something is not right, or you feel like you're being mistreated, or you feel like we can progress in a certain way where we could be more productive, say it. Like, don't be afraid of being like, oh, well, nobody else feels like I do. So what? You know, this person here at the age of 15 was attacked. It's crazy. It's like 15. She's a child.
Yeah.
She's a child.
I mean, and most of us think about what were we doing at 15? It wasn't productive.
What Power Ranger am I?
Yeah.
Am I the Yellow Ranger or the Pink Ranger? I just can't decide.
It's just like, it's funny when you kind of think about, you know, I think you made a good point too. Let me go ahead and go back to your point though. I think you made a good point on going ahead and speaking up. And I think sometimes we're afraid of the conflict that kind of comes from that kind of stuff, but it doesn't mean you have to do it in a hateful way. I like to approach stuff that in such a way to assume at the beginning that people just don't understand or they've never thought about it like that.
Right.
Because most of the time that seems to be what it is, right? That they've seen it from a different perspective, and you'll even hear them go, I've never really thought about it like that. Doesn't mean that they agree, disagree, or whatever, but it at least plants that seed, right? That's like, oh, wow, I've never really thought about it like that. And, you know, I think there needs to be more of that going on. And I mean, you could fill in the blank on the conversation pieces. I mean, we talk about some of the stuff that's uncomfortable conversations, right? Because it's like, well, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to, all these things. I think you could kind of fill in the blank on that kind of stuff. But, you know, I think if we don't have these conversations, I think it makes it worse, not better. And I think that, you know, you have to, if you think something or you feel a certain way, I think you have to have the conversations. And, you know, maybe it is that you open up the possibility in somebody else's mind, and maybe they talk and explain their side, and you start to understand from their perspective. And again, it's not even about agreeing, right?
No,
it's not about agreeing. It has nothing to do with agreeing. You know, it has to do with listening and respecting and, you know, being open to other people's thoughts and perspectives.
Right.
And, you know, I think that is something that I honestly could be like world changing if we could do that.
Yeah, 100%. Like, can we both, I was just visualizing something like, can we both walk away knowing that we disagree with how it's going to be done, but we agree on it being done? Like, can we do that? Like, and then maybe revisit at another time? Like, can we work that way? Like, because that's how I try and go into things. You know, back in the day before I read more and had the information, and the whole point was to, in certain conversations or the way we did things, I thought it had to be done a certain way. I thought that was the standard, not my standard. It was the standard. You know what I mean? And then I realized, I was like, well, everybody's standards are different. But there is some commonality. Like, we both want certain things. You know, there's an outcome. And then eventually I realized, like, the person doesn't have to agree with you. Like, it's totally okay if they don't. Like, it's fine. Like, I know you feel it don't make sense. I feel it don't make sense. But you don't have to agree. It's totally fine. It doesn't mean, like, the world's going to end.
No. And, you know, I think that's huge. And kind of going back to, I was talking about like 15 years old, like, I think it's so amazing when I hear these stories, but I also think it's sad because she had to be so mature mentally, emotionally, and everything at that moment, which typically, if you're able to be that mature at that age, is because, you know, you've gone through some hard stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you know, to be able to be that mature in those moments, to realize that you need to take those hard steps, and, you know, that has to be, well, first of all, terrifying, but I mean, amazing, right? And I think, you know, we take for granted sometimes, especially here in the US, we take for granted sometimes the fact that we do have so many more rights now as women. And we assume that that's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, right? It's
Right.
there are still so many areas that women don't have any
Mm-hmm.
rights, really.
Right.
And it's kind of sobering to think about that, because again, we live by our own perspective,
Mm-hmm.
our own experiences, and I'm sure both of us could tell some stories of stuff that's been crappy and unfair, but then that's just, you know, I'm trying to think of a right way to say that, but that is
Mm-hmm.
just like bare minimum of some of the things that other women experience in other
Right.
areas. Not to downplay, because being treated
We
crappy
all
is
go through stuff.
absolutely,
Yeah,
but
we all go through stuff, but
yeah,
it's like in certain areas, that stuff is real different. That's
absolutely.
the best way I would say it.
Yeah, no, I think that's perfect. And I think that makes it even more important for us to kind of do these shout outs on, International, Women's Day, on Women's History Month, because it's encouraging, even if there are people out there, women out there that have not had that experience, right? It gives them a beacon.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's kind of like what we were talking about like a couple months ago. Like, I didn't realize that I can't say how many years ago, but it's not that long ago that women weren't allowed to open a bank account. Like, can you
Yep.
imagine, like, you have to ask your partner, your husband, like, can I have $1? Like, straight up. Like, and he's just like, no. And you're
Yeah.
just like, oh shucks. Can you imagine, Maria?
I wouldn't be
Like,
overwhelmed. I would not.
we'd be like, bow.
I would have been. I even think about it in some popular shows. Have you watched I Love Lucy?
I used to watch it. I don't remember a lot of the episodes, but
Very
I'm gonna
funny show.
rewatch it. I'm gonna
Yeah,
rewatch it.
it is a funny show. I actually like the show,
Yeah.
but you can't be thin-skinned on it, because she actually gets treated like a child, not as his wife.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a funny show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a funny show. It's kind of one of those things that I ignore that part of it and just watch it for the reason that I watch it
Right.
for.
Right.
But there's episodes where she's literally having to ask for money or ask for a raise in her
Well, that was the
allowance.
time.
And then literally, if she quote unquote misbehaves, she's getting bent over his knees and spanked like a child. I mean, it's like it's like one of those things that even as a comedy, it's funny. And I always liked the
Right.
show growing up. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you think about some of those things, you're like, wow, okay, And I'm sitting there thinking about my own marriage and how
Mm-hmm.
I would be in prison. I would be in prison, and my husband is aware of that fact. It's
Oh
not a shock.
snap.
So yeah, it's just funny, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess, and that show wasn't made that long ago. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
So it's
That's the
just,
thing.
yeah,
That's what I'm
funny.
saying. It's like it wasn't that long. That's why I have to give some props to us. I have to give some props because, yeah, I'm sure we could all look and be like, dang, well, we ain't here yet. We ain't there yet. Look at how far we've come.
Yep, agree.
There's a book. When I went to the library yesterday, they had a display. So shout out to the South Huntington Public Library. I love it. That's my favorite library. But then again, I haven't been to a lot of libraries, but that one's my favorite. All right. So there is a book that I saw, and I was like, this book exists. It is called. Um, I'll pretty much say it's a book that has a lot of speeches from women that created change.
Ooh.
It is called From Megaphones to Microphones: Speeches of American Women and the Time Periods from 1920 to 1960. I can't wait to get this book in the mail. Because I didn't even know this book existed until I saw it at the library. I was like, I ain't checking no book out. We buying this. And it was only $6 on Thrift Books.
good. Yeah, that's a good. I'm gonna look at it too because
I'll send you
shout out to
the
Thrift Books.
yeah, shout out to Thrift Books because
I love
it's
Thrift Books.
important. You know, I realize how important it is because sometimes I was even talking to my brother about this. Shout out to him. It's his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday!
He's 40 today.
That's young.
Yeah, you're like, that's young. But
so young.
Look, in my brain, that's just weird because I remember when he was 18 and he's older than I am, like 3 years. Like, it's just weird. It's like, we're here? Like, we're here? Okay.
Yeah, I sometimes I feel like 80 because I feel like I've been alive like forever. And sometimes.
Does your knee crack when you get up?
Oh, it does. It's there's a whole symphony going on in there. It's like there's a whole bunch. That's what happens when you destroy your body when you're younger by too much, high impact sports and Anyway.
Yeah. But anyway. So the whole point I was saying.
I'm looking for this book right now too. So
I sent you a link.
Oh, well, crap.
I did you a favor. I did you a salad.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Very
so
excited. Ooh.
Yeah, take a look and see what prices they have. I don't know if they have any more. Whoa, somebody's selling it for $104.
They're like, I heard this on Spontaneity.
Yeah, not everybody's.
I heard all the good books, so I'll look all the places.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah, so I'm really curious to, I realize how important. Oh, that's what I was saying. My brother and I were talking about it, and we were talking about a lot of things, like different things that happened in history, and why should we even look at the past? Like, why should we do that? Because sometimes I feel like, in a sense, we relive it, whether we were there or not. Like, we relive some of the components, and I don't think per se that's really what it's there for. It's there for us to, one, like in this moment, we could look back and be like, wow, we've come so far because somebody didn't settle. Like, literally, that's all it is. Somebody said, I do not like this. How about this? Or they said, look, I don't like this. And somebody said, you know what? You're right. And that's how we create change. But if we don't speak up, change doesn't come, So I just found it really interesting that book existed. And now I'm going to read upon this because I think it's important. And I don't think you have to be a woman to be like, I got to learn the history. I think in general, just for your knowledge, to look and see what used to happen,
And I mean, I think it's a good idea anyway, because we all have, I'm assuming, we all have friends that are women and sisters and mothers and aunts and cousins. And
we need to know.
I mean, I think it's one of those things. I think it's important. And I like learning about, everything really. It's slightly disorder at this point that I'm like, I want to know everything about everything.
Yeah.
But I'm a research junkie, and I just keep digging.
That's my problem. I'm like, turn it off.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But anyway, I think it's important to learn, because again, we can only come from our own experiences, our own perspectives, and even if something seems to be quote unquote, not like us, right? Not that maybe I'm a woman, I'm reading about men, and like whatever. I think it's important because that adds another layer to things, perspective, right? It adds another perspective, adds another layer, because you're never going to be able to learn other perspectives unless you try to learn other perspectives and listen and ask questions and read. And I think it's important to do all those kind of things no matter what, because it opens the dialogue, it opens the discussion, it opens the understanding, and there's sometimes I don't understand why people think the way they do. I honestly want to know. I'll try to say, I'm going to ask questions because I don't understand.
Right.
Understand.
Right.
Explain it to me. Explain it to me. Does that mean I necessarily 100% all the time agree? No. But at least I can file it in my mind and go, okay, well, I understand why they think like this. Even if it doesn't make me agree, it makes me go, oh, okay, that's why they think like that. It just adds another layer, and I like
it's perspective.
Yes.
100%. Like, there's a lot of people that say things and I don't agree with them, and I'm just like, and that's what you thought, huh? Mm-hmm. But then I'm like, You know, when you really think about it, I could see why. Because
Yeah.
maybe because the thing is that's why, like, just in general, reading and exposing yourself to things that are different than you are so important, because your perspective changes. It can evolve. You know, you can gain insight by exposing yourself to different things. However, if you make the choice to not do so. And once again, it's not like you have to expose yourself to it and like it. Like, that's
Yeah.
not what it's about. It's about just understanding. And I think because, I like to share that a lot in customer care, because one of the pain points is that a lot of people are there and they don't feel seen and heard.
Yeah.
They just feel like they're just a number. And it's like, well, if my numbers don't meet the number that I'm supposed to be at, I'm out. But sometimes we don't understand how the person thinks. That's the thing. If we understand how they think and why they think that way, we can better articulate the message to them, and then give them another shot and see if, like, it's for them. At the end of the day, it is what it is. But that's what I like to do. Like, it's very important to, like, really check in and expose yourself to other things. It's just very, very important. You might learn something about yourself.
Yeah, and to watch also, not jumping to conclusions and getting upset. It's funny. I posted, I don't remember when it was, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. It was just a joke. It was like a screenshot of a tweet. It was a joke talking about, women have to deal with, what was it? It was have to deal with periods and menopause, blah, 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 and men have to deal with whatever. And most people are like, ha, 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 so true, because it was literally written as a joke. And you had a few people in there, like, getting all serious. I'm like, bro.
It's a joke.
It's a joke. Put the jokes up what men have to do. I can't give that experience.
Right.
I can't give that experience. I can laugh about it, the things that women have to deal with, because I'm allowed to. I can. You know what I mean? Either laugh along with me or stay out of the comment. Because it's just like, it is not that serious. If you want to sit and have a debate about, the things that go on, I can sit and talk with you. You know what I mean? And Stacey, you and I have talked about this thing. Sometimes, things go on, and I've seen it go on with, things have been done wrong with historically with women. So some companies, not all companies, but some companies will try to quote unquote fix it by swinging so far the other way that it's doing disservice to, the other populations. I get it. And that ends up causing resentment and a lot of which is probably why this person was up in the, my comments saying stuff. It was because personal experiences that he took that as a, and I didn't say anything back, because number one, it wouldn't have done any good. And number two, there's nothing good that I could say that's going to, number one, make him not feel hurt whatever way. Because it's one of those things, it's like, bro, you've been hurt. Somebody hurt you.
Gotta look.
I'm sorry about that, but this was a joke, not to downplay his feelings on stuff, whatever, but sometimes we need to not be so thin-skinned on stuff, and we need to be able to sit and say, okay, why do you think like that? Or be able to have those conversations, because it's not. First of all, that was not that serious. That was a joke, and I don't even know. It's like every time I see stuff like that, and you see it a lot with that kind of stuff. People get all bent out of shape. When I posted about after the Super Bowl, I posted about the halftime show, and we had all kinds of people. It was like split half and half, on people that liked it. People were like, this was the worst thing ever. And I'm like, you know what, bro? My opinion, it brought back, music that I always listen to. Right. And even Cole, my 9-year-old staring at me, he's like, how do you know all these words? Because he just assumed it was all new. He's like, how do you know all these words? I was like, this is from back in the day.
Just go back in your little
I'm like doing up there, doing my dances. Yeah, I'm doing my dances up there. My kids are like, you're so weird. But I mean, it was, and then there was people who was like, Mary J. Blige wasn't as good as normal, and blah 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 wasn't, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, good Lord, why can't you just enjoy it? Turn it. You don't like it, turn it off, right?
Well, I always think of frame of mindset, like that's like what I think about. I think of several things, but when it comes to perspective, so Facebook is all about perspective. It is social media. It's all about perspective. So it is a guarantee. It's guaranteed you're going to see something on there you don't like. Guaranteed. Because it's fueled by different people.
It pops up in my DMs off and on all the time.
Girl, we all go through things.
That's a whole nother conversation. We need a whole
nother conversation.
Whole nother show on just that.
Yeah, that's
educate
spontaneity.
A certain population of the world on acceptable DM procedures.
Well, you're right. That's another show because I was gonna.
I'm buttoning it up. Right.
But it's different perspectives, and you don't have to agree. Nobody said you had to. Okay. And I always think about it like this. Like when I look at something, like sometimes I'll screenshot like you guys and I'll put it in, I'll be like, look at this. It's like, this is like hilarious, you know?
Yeah.
Or like, really? This is what this, like I keep it private because my thing is, I think about it like this. And this is where my like Einstein self, my Einstein comes into play.
People are thinking you're just like Einstein. You're like, Einstein.
No, Einstein, guys.
That's where Einstein talks to Stacey.
Yeah, he literally goes, Stacey, energy can only be transferred and never destroyed. Yeah. So before I say something, that's what I think. It comes up in my head. And I'm like, okay, say I respond back and say, I don't like this post. I think it's, first of all, I wouldn't write something like that. But let's say I were to. Yeah. And do you think that this person's just going to leave it there? Depending on how I formulate the sentence is a possibility. Okay. That's one possibility. There's another possibility. They're going to say something back. And then what happens with that? Then
it's a war. That's
just going to keep going.
Supposed to be asleep and it's left me. I'm like, oh no, you did not.
Yeah, like,
you did
not. It's on. Pour me some Chardonnay. We about to get in here.
Oh no. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I accidentally get trapped in reading. Like, I don't even care. Like, I actually am not a big social media. Like, I have to deal with it at work, so I usually don't. But sometimes I'll accidentally end up in the comments on something. Oh, they didn't. And I'm like, I will be on there. I am like all the way in, right? I am like all in there. I'm like, no, she didn't. Oh, she did. No, oh, no. I know I've screenshot some stuff and sent it to you all before because it cracks me up. It completely cracks me up. It's like, I don't know.
Look, it's true. Look, I'm not going to say I haven't. I've looked at some comments. There's some comments I'm like, I didn't know she had it in her to talk like this. Like, one day I was just like, yo, what? Really? Oh my God. But anyway, the whole point in saying this is to say, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know how we always talk about what's your why? Like, I always think about what's the point. So say you let this person know that you're pissed and you think that they're being this and that and the fifth. And what's the like, really, like, what's the end result? Like, that's what I think about. Like, where are we going with this? Because if the result is to change their mind, how much time are you willing to put into that for free? That's another thing. You put it in for free. It's not like
are you going to be able to change their mind in a text or on Facebook too? It's. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, and that's what I always try to tell myself. Kind of the same thing you said. Like I try to go on a soft approach, an educational approach. If I say something, it ends up being something that, opens it up to, to where I'm willing to discuss things. But, I try to look at the good on things. Like even with going back to the halftime show, I can't remember. I think it was like 25 years of sobriety was on the stage that day. It was the fact that, first of all, Mary J is like, what is she, like 60?
She's.
I hope I look and sound that good at 60.
But she's doing her thing.
They were like, well, her voice isn't as powerful as it used to be. Okay. I mean, you look, sound. I mean, do we want to sit there and talk about like all of us 20 years ago?
Yeah. Like, so, I mean, your knees used to not make noise when you stood up.
I can make a list of things with myself. You know what I mean? It's like, at what level, like, we hold people to these unrealistic standards that if the mirrors turn around ourselves, we'd be like, yeah, but because, it's like, okay, you can sit and say, well, this person did this person did this person should be, would be, could be. It doesn't matter. Let's look at the positives. If you didn't enjoy the music, you thought it sucked, great. You could have walked away, turned it off. Nobody said you had to sit there. You didn't have to sit there. I enjoyed it because, again, it brought back good memories for me of when I was young and carefree and, back in the day. Yeah.
Or minimal responsibility.
Exactly. It was like one of those things. And, I tried to look at kind of the positive things. There's no point in nitpicking everything. And then, some people are trying to make it a big political thing. And honestly, I don't know nor care. I don't know nor care if there was supposed to be some big political push. I don't care. Like, I know that I didn't. So for me, it was just kind of like, okay, I thought this was cool. I thought this was cool. And it brought back memories. And I left it at that because it's like, I don't care about the rest of it. It's not why I was there. I wasn't there to do some type of, a marketing report on what was being marketed or not marketed. I was not there. I wasn't there for like vocal quality, assurance. I was not there for anything like that, right?
Insurance.
So it's just like Mary J, back in 1992, it looks like you could hit this note for 3.5 seconds longer. So
you've changed.
You know what I mean? It wasn't what I was doing. It was just like, I was excited when I heard the halftime show because I'm like, oh my gosh, back in the day, so to me, I liked it. And for somebody else, they thought it was terrible. Great. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
Glad
high five.
That you feel this way.
And I would be fine. Then you're not going to be like, I hate it. I'm like, cool. It doesn't bother me. It does not bother me at all. It's just when people want to get venomous and start saying horrible things and start making an argument, it's like, why? Like,
I'm really all for a good debate. Like Natasha and I debate. Like I love having a debate with her because it's not like it doesn't turn into it's not a fight. It's we're coming with facts and we're going with knowledge. And if there is a moment where she knows something that I don't know or I know something that she doesn't know, we take a moment and we go Google it, right? And then she'll be like, oh, I didn't know that. And it's not, see, I told you so. You don't know anything. It's not that. It's wow, I didn't know. So
there's probably a little level of, that's inside, right? Like
this much, but it's not. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like it's not like now I'm going to attack you. That's the issue when people want to have a conversation about how they feel about something. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be things that are important to us that may not be important to somebody else. Respect it. However, I think some people, when they debate or want to have a conversation, the tone, when they have no more other facts or nothing else to say in that perspective, or they're not able to share something more, then it becomes like a personal attack. Keep it in the subject matter. Don't make it about the person. Talk about the thing that you're passionate about.
I think that's huge. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think some people look at it like a competition thing. And there's levels of Maria's personality. Like, we've even talked about, I don't like golf. Why do I not like golf? Because I suck at it. I wasn't instantly, the moment I stepped on the golf course, wasn't like Tiger Woods. I was like, I hate this. That's part of my personality, right? But, in a debate situation, there's not a winner or a loser unless you're actually like formally doing a real debate. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about if you're talking to somebody. It doesn't need to be an argument. There's no winner. It needs to be such a thing that, the idea is to discuss both perspectives. I like good debates. I really, really do. 100%. I like it whenever I can give my perspective. I hear other perspectives. And even if at the end of it, like we both 1,000% disagree, I'm like, wow, that was a really good debate. I really like that because you still learn something.
And that's the whole point. That's the whole point of a debate. It's I have this perspective, you have this perspective. Here's what I know.
Yeah.
And here's what this person knows. And there may be moments where you don't know something that the other person knows about because that's their thing.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point.
Or they never experienced it. Because, I mean, there's been times where I was very self-assured on my opinion on something until I hear somebody else's perspective. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was a possibility. Like that wasn't even in my Rolodex of possibilities in my brain. So I hear that, I'm like, oh my gosh, And not every debate is going to be something that's going to be like completely change somebody's mind.
Right.
But, it's good to throw out all of the perspectives and, everybody's side of things, because that's how we figure out that, it's more than just our own little world, right? And it's really
100%.
hard to understand all the potential perspectives. And I always use the example, if there was an unfortunate accident out here on the road and there's 10 people lined up and a police officer comes and gets statements from all 10 people, they're all 10 going to be different statements. Yep. And if you talk to a law enforcement officer, they'll tell you that. They know they're going to get 10 different statements, and where they come up with, quote unquote, what happened is because they're going to take all of those and look for the comments, right? Yep. Because it doesn't mean that anybody's lying, right? It's just from their perspective, from their own perspective. Right. As much as we want to be like, my memory is the bomb or my memory stinks or whatever, everybody's memory is only going to be so good, because if you just study the brain and memory and all those things in a healthy brain, it's not as good as you think it is, right? Yeah. A lot of that is fed in with prior experiences, and good or bad. Yep. And whether we like it or not, it gets automatically thrown in there. And that's why sometimes I think some of these people, especially on Facebook, we hear the term get triggered, right? They get triggered because and it's sometimes used as a bad thing. Well, you've been triggered, but I'm using it seriously to say sometimes
in general you get triggered,
right? Because it's like automatically it reminds us of something, and from our perspective, we're automatically taking it like that. 100%. And we all do it. I catch myself like, I don't think so. I have to say, okay, like you said, what's the purpose? What if I say something back, because you just done pissed me off? If I say something back, what's the point going to be? Is it going to teach my perspective, or is it actually when you respond a lot of times in a negative light, it's going to push that person farther away from understanding?
Yeah, that's the main thing. I love that you said that, because there was somebody else, like I said, I listen to a lot of shows and read a lot, so I don't remember what it was from, but they were saying, like, in moments where we have the ability to come to the table, and whether it's debate, create a sense of understanding, or just general communication, like, if we come with that negative energy, like, we're pushing that person further back into the depths of the people that they feel like or agree with. So then we never get to create that space again, because you just push them so far in that direction that they're just like, oh, well, that's why I'm not talking to somebody like you, because of that. And now it's done. But if we can just, the thing is, I think really what it's about is just taking a little bit of time to, like, process before we react with a lot of things. Like, just take a moment to just, like, stop. Like, don't just, like, jump, like, immediately. Like, unless, like, something's falling, you gotta catch it. Like, you should jump immediately. But even your immediate is not really an immediate, if you really think about it. No. But take a moment to process. And I think that's the thing too. I think, were we talking about, like, doing online tests or something for something? I don't know.
Yeah.
We were? Sure. All right. Apparently I'm a very careful person, very calculated. Yeah. Apparently. Right? So I like to think about all perspectives, and is it possible to think about all perspectives realistically? No. I think only about, like, one or two. But with certain conversations, you do want to stop for a minute, and be like, can I really have a good interact? Is this something that's gonna be positive? Well, it starts with you,
Yeah. That's why that's the only person that's the only person that you can control, really. And I even have that discussion with my boys, because Cade's 12, it'll be 13 in May, Cole's 9. I can't believe that. And they are like,
any sense.
All day. They're like, they're always fighting. They're either, like, best friends for 5 minutes, but then all of a sudden you look away and they're like,
punch in the face.
It's like, what just happened? So it always ends up being as I separate them, trying to figure out what happened. It's always like, what he. I'm like, okay, dial back. Can you control what he says or does? And but no, can you control what he says or does? No. Okay. Who can you control what they say or do? Me. And the other boy, because that's how it is. And it's sad that as adults, sometimes we have to remind ourselves of that, because, instantly, especially if somebody hits one of your trigger things, you're like, oh no.
Tell me about it.
But you have to, like, dial it in and go, okay, Maria, can I control what they
Mm-hmm.
say or do. I cannot.
Right. Yeah, I had to take that lesson for myself. I was just like, you know what? Yeah, that's a lost cause. It's and at the
Yeah.
end of the day, when you think about it, you're only kind of like putting yourself at a disadvantage by thinking that you can influence or create change for someone else. They have to do it on their own. You can remind them as much as you want, but at the end of the day, it's up to them to create the change for themselves.
And
So,
you need to live and be the change. Like, I think it's important to talk about things.
of course.
Maybe not directed to somebody that you can tell has a opposite view, unless you're both prepared for a healthy conversation. But I think it's important to educate. I think the difference
Mm-hmm.
is, doing it in a soft approach. And I try to do that with everything,
Mm-hmm.
even like in my wellness world, right? I'm very much a big proponent of organic farming and natural farming. I live in a very agricultural community that is 99.99999% not organic.
Mm.
I could go out there with my picket signs and like saying that, you're killing the world and you're destroying the soil and all the things that I could prove by a lot of things is kind of true. But on the other hand, what am I doing? You know what I mean? What am I
Mm.
doing by that? Because this is a lot of their livelihoods. And first of all, if I dial it back and I was to ask myself, hey, could they financially be able to change their entire farming operation and still be able to pay their bills? No.
Mm.
Most of them no, because that is their income.
Yep.
So, it's some of those things that sometimes, even if you're quote unquote right on your thoughts, it's like, okay, well, can they even potentially make those changes? And sometimes the answer is no, not easily or not realistically where they can still pay their bills or whatever. So would it do any good if I was out there just venomously like screaming things at them? Or look at like a lot of religious institutions, and that they're supposed to be loving and caring, but they're out there with, you know you're going to go to hell or you're going to do this or whatever. And if that's what you believe, fine, whatever. But does holding a sign out there, does that open up a dialogue or conversation to explain why you feel the way you do, or why they feel the way that they do? It's not even about who's right or wrong. Honestly,
Right.
it's about why can't we have these discussions without like hateful words? And that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing that makes me sad. And I feel like if I don't stop talking now, it's 2:08. That I'll just keep going because that like gets me going. It's just it makes me sad to continue to create division on things. And we
Exactly.
yeah
Yeah. We always talk about that. Like, is your language bringing people together or separating them? Like, I always think about that. Like, like the first thing I told you about that I think about is, what's the point of even saying something? And then two, is my language going to be helpful to bring people together or to divide them? And those are things that we have to think about. And, I guess I'll kind of sum it up here that we have to continue to be aware of how we are articulating ourselves and in what spaces we're doing so to create change. And change is not easy for anyone. Like, try and be like, I'll use the example of me. Try and be like, okay, I've gotten up at 9 a.m. for like a good point in my life, and now we're gonna start getting up at 4. We're just gonna start tomorrow. We're just gonna keep doing it. Like, you're gonna have some days where you're just gonna be like, I'm not getting up at 4. Are you crazy? Like, change is difficult. Like, it's just a human thing. Change is difficult. Some people, I think, handle it better than others, of course, but we got to keep continuing to be the change. And I think that's exactly what you were saying, because yeah, you want everything to be organic. I think we all want everything to be organic, but there
yeah
has to be steps that we
absolutely
take, and the best way to do it is to start it on our own and be like, here's some tips, here's
yeah
something that I learned. And when you say it like that, it's, oh, I didn't know that, or did you know that, blah blah blah, and oh no, I didn't know that. When you make things out of curiosity, people are more inclined to listen to you than you say, well, you shouldn't be doing that because
they get defensive and shut down, right?
yeah, why are you
Right.
telling me?
Exactly. Well, it's because, again, I've even had discussions with farmers and I've had them say to me, I know you're right, but I couldn't afford it. I'm like, I get that. I completely understand that because, unless I'm handing them over money to pay their mortgage, to pay their electric,
Exactly.
it's not my business to, you know what I mean? I can educate on why I feel the way that I do, but at the end of the day, I have to step into their shoes a little bit and understand their number one priority is making sure that their kids have food. that they have a roof over their head. You know, and I think much of what you're saying, this is again something we talk about a lot. If you really take a deep breath, no matter how much that other person just ticks you off with whatever they said or wrote or whatever, we all want the same things.
100%.
We do.
100%. 100%. And then also, like, try not to go in trying to prove anything, especially who you are. That's not for them. They don't need to know that. Anybody got time? Stop trying to prove that. Just be it.
Right. We want to be happy. We want to be healthy. We want our family happy and healthy. I mean, you trace it, dial it way back. We all want the same things.
That's true.
And I think, and that's one of the things I try to think, try to figure out, like, even if I think they're coming on from a way terrible angle, from my perspective, I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. You're one the same thing. I'm trying to, and that's easier said than done sometimes. We're not saying they're saying that.
Oh, 100%.
But, I do think that, the first step would be, like, take a deep breath.
100%.
Well, just take it. We'll just take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath. And then.
Yeah. I just did. It wasn't that deep. And, you gotta get to the diaphragm right there.
Take a deep yoga breath.
Oh, man. I gotta meditate. Do yoga. Yeah, we should. We actually should. I did want to mention before we go that Women of Indie Pods United is on Saturday, March 26th from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We've got speakers, podcasters. What else we got going on, Maria?
All the things. We got all the things. All the things going on. And
12 hours?
Yeah, it's going to be 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We're going to be exhausted. But it's going to be
a fun Saturday.
It is going to be a fun Saturday. Super excited to really showcase a lot of these amazing speakers and a lot of these amazing podcasters, in honor of Women's History Month. We're doing it for the ladies, but I had a couple of guys ask me, like, are we allowed to attend? Yes, we're all supporting all the ladies that are speaking and podcasting. The guys, we want you there too. So
that's the love link,
it
guys.
Go ahead and get your ticket. Enjoy. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a blast. And I'm actually really excited. We've got a great lineup. We really, really do. And I think it's going to end up being a really fun time.
Yeah, so. I'm actually really curious to see who's going to be here and what we're talking about. And I'm really curious. I'm excited to be a part of it as well. It's going to be cool-tastic.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be amazing. And I know if you have any questions, you can reach out to me and Tina, if anybody knows Tina. Or actually, Jeff is honorary, even though he's not a woman podcaster. Old Jeffers was dragging to help with a lot of the things through Power Duty. So
there he is. Use the link that Jeff posted.
Oh, there you go.
So you can register. I think that's better. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that.
Awesome. So super excited and see Power Duty. PowerDuty.com. We've got a lot of recordings of some jingle possibilities for old Jeffers and his Paduty. I love it.
It's like a sneeze.
It's fun to say. It's like it's so fun. Paduty. I
put on a t-shirt.
You Paduty. We Paduty.
I want to see somebody going this like Paduty.
We Paduty. All right. So how funny would it be if there's a commercial? Paduty.
But I don't want it to say anything else. Just Paduty.
Paduty. People are like, what?
And then nothing else. And it just disappears. Like the shortest commercial ever.
And it's fine. That's why, I'm here for it. Here for it. Paduty is sponsoring our Women's Indie Pods United. So.
Dates and deets.
Yeah, that's part of the rap. Dates and deets at Paduty.com. Dates. Oh my God. So we had the jingle. It was a.
No, this must be real. This has to be real.
It's a real. Oh, it already is a real thing. There's multiple recordings that me and Tina both have just randomly sent Jeff against his will.
This is good stuff.
So it's good. It's good stuff. So anyway, Jeff's amazing. He's him and his company Paduty is sponsoring Women's Indie Pods United. It's going to be March the 26th Get your tickets. My birthday's 2 days later, so get a ticket for my birthday.
Celebrate Maria.
Celebrate. Yeah. Get a ticket. And to celebrate all these fabulous ladies, because I can't think of anything any better that I would want for my birthday than to have all these amazing women celebrated. I'm excited. I would love to see a great turnout. So,
heck yeah.
Come on.
How do you feel that your birthday?
Mom, if you're watching, I want you to buy a ticket.
Like, baby, I'm busy that day.
Don't comment.
I'm in my knitting class.
Don't comment, though, because we're knitting class. She'd be more like, never mind. I can't. I'll get in so much trouble.
I already. Okay, never mind.
We'll just do this.
Yeah, she's in her adult dance class.
Yeah, she is in her adult. There we go. Perfect. Adult. She would be more that type.
Got it. She's like, baby, I just learned this new move. Watch out.
All she would tell me.
Put my knee brace on.
Let me tell you how fun it was. She would go that far. And I would say, Mom, you need friends.
Does your mom have Netflix?
I'm sure. I don't know.
Oh, okay. No? Okay.
I don't know. She might. I don't know. I can ask her. But okay, Mom, Stacey wants to know. Stacey wants to know if you have Netflix.
She'd be like, yes. And I saw this great show, and I'm like, never mind, forget it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. We don't want to open that can. I'll just let you talk to her because usually I end up like gagging. Like,
I think she's like my mom. Like, my mom.
It's funny when it's somebody else's mom.
Yeah, it is. When it's your mom, you're just like,
ew. Yeah. 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 Fun.
Maria, it's been fun because we're going to keep talking. It's going to be 3 o'clock. And
it is.
Yeah, I got to do something.
Yeah, do some things. Make some stuff happen. All right. So we'll be back again next week, next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there or be square.
Be there, be square, baby. It's been fun. Thanks for joining us. And don't forget to get your tickets for Women's Indie Pods. Please.
Whoop, whoop.
Do it.
Happen. Bye.
Bye, guys.